Greetings, everybody. Well, what's new in Hawaii? Plenty. Depending on how you look at it and where you're sitting, I suppose the big news is Mauna Loa. Now, yesterday, when the quakes came, it was originally reported that it was at Kilauea, but turns out, Kilauea is here, and Mauna Loa joins it right there. It was the southeastern flank, apparently, of Mauna Loa that started to act up pretty good. It was a 4.6, followed by a 5.1. All the way over here in Puna, we actually felt both. The 4.6 was too brief for me to do much anything about. I went, and earthquake. But then, pretty shortly afterwards, it started with the 5.1, and that one went on for a little while. I managed to make my way out the door from the desk because Kevin was out here working on my shed, but he didn't hear or feel very much, just a little bit. The house, though, we were inside, makes noise. And so we heard that, and I moved outside. Mauna Loa has had a history of erupting about every 20 years, and I mean, that goes way back, 18th century. They've been kind of marking this, and so from the 18th century coming forward through the 20th, it's been on a 20-year cycle, but it has not erupted since 1984. So that's a big rest, and we've all been anticipating something to happen. There's been inflation at the peak, and there's been numerous smaller quakes. These were big enough, though, that they actually indefinitely closed the Pahala post office to retail. Apparently the P.O. boxes are still open if you live around Pahala, but if you're going to have to buy stamps or anything else, I guess Naalehu to the west or Volcano to the east, the Mountain View post office is already overwhelmed. After the Leilani eruption down there, everybody evacuated, came up here. Please don't come to Mountain View. It's already deadly to get to the post office here. So that is new, and it's a pretty good bet that something's going to happen soon. Yeah, it's going to happen. No telling how. The last time, Mauna Loa is actually the entire southwestern end of the island, of Big Island of Hawaii. Everything over in the southwest is Mauna Loa. It's one of the largest volcanoes on Earth. But last time it erupted in '84, it actually sent lava down the backside through the saddle between the two volcanoes. We have Mauna Loa, big mountains here. It went right down between the two of them, and it headed on straight for Hilo, which is the absolute eastern shore of the Big Island. So when it gets rolling, it could do a lot. Anybody who's ever driven by, say, Hawaiian Ocean View Estates, for instance, it's nothing but solid Mauna Loa lava. That's all you can really see over there. The flows are tremendous. Right. Well, I bet we all can't wait. Something is going to happen. Just be prepared, I guess. Well, the mayor, he's already been on television telling people what to do about it, but yeah, mostly just make sure that you can find your pets. That's real important. Make sure that you got enough gas in the truck to get you down the mountain and out of the area quick. The nerves are really more what's damaging from the volcanoes here in Hawaii. Very few people ever die from these things. People who get too close, I guess, there's people who fall into pukas and are never heard from again. My friend Jim did that, and luckily he was heard from again, but he's still got stitches up his arm from going in there. That kind of stuff. volcanologists who get too close to their work and set themselves on fire. Otherwise, the Hawaiian volcano is not an incredibly dangerous thing. We are probably not expecting like pyroclastic flows or massive eruptions that bury, although apparently at times some of the big mountains here have really gone to town, because the soil on this farm is supposedly an ancient eruption from Mauna Loa. That's the one with the observatories now. And I've got 16-foot deep earth over here that came from volcanic ash. And I'm a long ways. I can see the mountain. I go to the end of the street over here and look up. There they are. I can see the observatories gleaming and all that. I guess that's what we call Mountain View, the town of Mountain View, because we can usually see from here parts of Kilauea, all of Mauna Kea and all of Mauna Loa are visible from this town. But it's quite a distance. I've never really, taped it on Google Maps, but man, it's the whole other side of the island. It's the northeastern part and the northern part there. So that stuff came a long way, and there were huge amounts of it. So in recent history, we haven't seen anything like that. And hopefully we won't. Otherwise, what's brand new here in Puna is you might hear, if I stop talking, hear the raindrops? It's raining! It hasn't hardly rained here all month. For the entire month of October, I'd actually barely recorded 1 inch of rain. Now, remember, we ordinarily get like between 120 and 140 or so over here. So 1 inch for October is pretty sparse. It wasn't enough to keep the nursery going. I had to hand water the nursery almost every day to keep the plants alive. In the garden, I usually ignore things because our soil will generally hold water between rains, but I watched half-mature cabbages flop flat in the garden, and I'm walking by them, and naturally I'm thinking, oh man, what happened? Have I got nematodes, are the cutworms, or what's going on here? I went underneath the plants and poked, and I shoved my finger in that far, and I couldn't find any moisture. They were drying out. Well, the soil is very porous, but it is next to a row of Roselle, which is heavily fruiting right now. Beautiful Roselle. If it wasn't raining, I'd take you out there to show it to you. We've been drying it. So that's also new. The Roselle crop is coming in. The fruiting hibiscus. Yeah, they were next to the Roselle, and I think the roots of that plant sucked the water out near the cabbages. I had to lay a garden hose next to my cabbages. Hopefully they look better this morning after some rain. We received approximately 3/4 of an inch since yesterday. So it's adding up, and it's looking pretty good. So that's new. And I'm very happy about it. This is not new, but on rain here, but I grew up around Chicago. They get about 32 inches of rain a year, but part of that is snow. I lived in northern Wisconsin, where we got closer to 36 to 38, and definitely half of that was snow. Of course, Fremont, California, only 16 inches a year. Phoenix was even less. I lived there for a while. But I guess about 38 inches of rain per year, half of it being snow, was about as much water as I've ever seen falling from the sky in the areas that I lived long term. When we decided that we were coming here from California, and when I retired, I was having some problems worrying about whether I could actually adjust to this much rainfall. Yeah, I really didn't know. There's actually, I think, no way you can tell until you try it. That's probably pretty much the way it works. I was a bit reticent about the idea, actually. On the other hand, after 25 years in nursery in California, watering plants with garden hoses, to keep inventory from dying, I swore when I moved, I was going to take a piece of garden hose I was going to have it bronze like baby shoes, put it on my mantelpiece, and never use it again. Yeah, I wanted to go somewhere where I didn't have to water plants, where nature would just take care of that, kind of the way we would wish life was, that the environment was such that it would foster our plants, Well, I don't find myself having to wear fur coats around here, and I very seldom have to water my plants. Lately, I have had to. But when the rain disappears around here, and I guess I've been here long enough, that it bothers me. Yeah, I'm unhappy about the rain disappearing. If for no other reason, I haven't slept as well since the rain went away. Yeah, I'll lay there at night with the window cracked over my bed, and I'll listen to the raindrops falling, and hitting the leaves and the trees and stuff. And I just zone out and oftentimes stay asleep as long as the rain keeps going. Yesterday, that did happen. I had rain with the window open, and I did sleep better than usual. That, and I've been very successful at removing coqui frogs right next to the house here lately. So it was quiet enough I could hear raindrops. So strangely enough, after a while of living with this much rain, when it doesn't rain this much, I get nervous. Yeah, I guess apparently I have not only adjusted to it, but I have grown to love it. It's strange in a way, but you know how we are. A lot of us are like sun worshippers, right? Especially when we go on vacation. Everyone says, sit in the sun and get a suntan, sit on the beach. All that. You don't want to have your picnic rained out, right? No, it's not fun. But rain is what supports everything. Rain is the water we drink. Rain is the water in our bodies. Rain is the rivers and the creeks. Rain is all the green. Rain is the flowers. It's without it, we have desert. Hawaii is uniquely positioned on what would ordinarily be a dry latitude. Now, this is like the Sahara, North Africa, or the Mexican deserts and so on. We're right in line with it all on the planet. Generally, this is not a latitude where there's much rainfall at all. Great deserts on this latitude. But Hawaii is unique, I guess, and because we're small, positioned in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and we have great big mountains that I guess the clouds come in and they kind of rise up against the mountains and with all the moisture in them from the ocean, and they do drop here usually. But when the rain stops, as it did recently, I am reminded what latitude we live on. I guess it wouldn't take too much change. Well, just recently I had posted a video where I was planting more wine cap mushrooms here. The wine caps do really well in Hawaii, but of course, being a temperate mushroom, they eventually kind of peter out due to lack of winter chilling here and freezing. But if we replenish them, give them some new chips and all, they seem to do quite well here. But after publishing that video, I had a comment back from a viewer about how I had commented that mushroom spawn is pretty cheap. He says, well, you must be used to Hawaiian prices. My guess maybe is the gentleman, maybe he's shopping like with Paul Stamets or something. Paul's got some really premium spawns, and it's laid out in really nice containers and all sorts of different stuff. And he also has a fabulous reputation, with people who love mushrooms. But there are cheaper places if people are looking for that to get spawn. These guys right here are where I shop. I've been using this spawn company since I lived in northern Wisconsin. My friends turned me on to the idea. They were spawning shiitake in oak at the time. Yeah, it's Field and Forest Products in Peshtigo, Wisconsin. And their pricing is, I don't know, that was a 5.5 pound bale, and it cost me $22. There's some postage, but they use the large USPS box, you know, so it wasn't that bad. But yeah, $22 is if you buy two. It's $25 if you buy one. But I don't know. For what you get out of that, that's cheap, I think. So on that, well, it's new. Aloha.